Well, speaking of leaders, of course, I'm thrilled to be hosted by Veronika, who is a very important women's rights leader worldwide with her Right to Be a Mother campaign. And that is how I met Veronika, because she reached out to me all the way from Ukraine to ask me for my support of her campaign. And that was against Ms. World and also other pageants, other competitions, which denied women rights and restricted their opportunities. A pageant is, in a way, an employment opportunity, a business opportunity, and an opportunity to showcase platforms and important campaigns that women would like to support. So to be denied that opportunity solely on account of the fact that a woman is or was a parent, is or was pregnant, is or was married, even to parents who have adopted a child, was an obvious barrier to a woman's right to succeed and be judged solely on her merits rather than on her reproductive system, on her decision to marry, then divorce, or marry at all, or just be a single person. So I know that Veronika is going to be speaking about that, but I just wanted to share the credit that she absolutely deserves. She is extremely persistent, and it's all about the campaign for equality. And it takes persistence, it takes courage, it takes climbing that mountain, even in the face of some criticism, to change the status quo, which status quo does not favor women and girls. As a matter of fact, it presents enormous restrictions on the rights of women and girls. So lots of credit, lots of love to a real role model for change, and that's Veronika. Well, I do have a passion for justice. And many women, most women, sometime in their lifetime, and many times for many women in their lifetime, will be the victims of injustice. Some will become survivors, some will become fighters for change. But I learned in college, if you have the opportunity to act, you have the desire to act, and you have the ability to act to help others, then that's exactly what you should do. It's really the only moral choice you can make. And I do have the opportunity, I do have the ability, I do have the desire to improve the status of women and to bring them into equality with under the law, with equal rights, and have them be able to enjoy equal rights in every aspect of American life, and for that matter, throughout the world. You mentioned, Veronika, that I have fought against many powerful men, including Harvey Weinstein, the famous producer, and I am now fighting also against Cuba Gooding Jr., movie star. We fought against Bill Cosby, the very famous television personality. And not only did we speak out in the court of public opinion, but we also filed and went to trial, our own civil trial, on behalf of our client, who alleged that she was a victim of child sexual abuse by Mr. Cosby many years ago. And I thank the jury in our case that believed our client, and we won that civil case against Mr. Cosby. So the reason you often see me fighting against powerful men who I contend have hurt women and girls is because it's really a kind of a teaching moment, not only to the men, but also to the women that we represent and millions that we do not represent, to show them that you do not have to be afraid of powerful men and what they can do to your life. And maybe they're not celebrities in the entertainment world. Maybe they're not celebrities in the sports world, the religious world, the business world, and the many other worlds that exist. But they have no right to hurt women, and women do have the power under the law in many countries, for example, the United States and many states, to seek justice, not only as victims in a criminal case, but frankly, more often, even in civil cases, to seek accountability and to seek compensation from the men who have hurt them. The fact that those men are rich and powerful and famous does not give them any more rights to hurt women than anybody else has. Doesn't give them less rights, it doesn't give them more rights. So I want other women to be inspired by the courage of the victims who were often terrified into silence and finally overcame that fear and became empowered. And the empowerment of women and justice for women and girls is what I'm all about, because when one woman is empowered, it has a ripple effect on her family, including her children, even if they don't know why that transportation came about, and on their workplace, on their community, and on the world. So this is what many men fear, is the empowerment of women. So now the fear is on those who have hurt the women, and it is gone from the victims of the injustice by powerful men. And powerful men may be a father, a stepfather, an uncle. It may be a minister, a rabbi, a priest. It may be a coach. It may be a principal in their school. It may be the employer in their business. It is happening all over the world now, where women are speaking out against powerful men. And you will see me do that again next week, but I'm not going to have a spoiler alert here. Everybody can just wait and see. But they're the ones who are going to have to pay the consequences. The powerful have hurt those who have not had power, and they are going to have to pay the cost of their wrong, rather than have the victim pay the cost of the injustice against them. There have been many moments, and I really am inspired every day by the courage of women and girls, and to see them transformed at the end, from the tears they shed in the beginning to their fighting spirit at the end. That's why I say they start as victims, they move up to become survivors, and then many of them become fighters for change. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, when they're fighters for change, often they will seek to change laws that have restricted their rights, denied them their rights, and often they are successful, as many will be able to see when they watch my Netflix documentary, Seeing Allred, and seeing many of my clients going with me to the legislature in California, in Nevada, in Colorado. And we also went to speak to elected officials in Washington, D.C. And now some of those women may end up running for office themselves. So, it does have a ripple effect, and I'm very happy about it. Of course, abortion, the right to reproductive freedom, is a major issue for me, because before Roe v. Wade, which was the landmark decision by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1973, in which women won the right to have abortions legally, not have to fear criminal prosecution of those who provided it. And that was so important. And before that, of course, I had to have an abortion when I was in my 20s. and it was not legal in California for anyone to provide an abortion. So many women like me, we had to go to back alley abortionists who were not healthcare providers, not doctors or nurses, and just did it for the money and then left us to hemorrhage. And in many cases, women died. So I almost did die from infection from an illegal abortion. I was afraid when the police came to the hospital. And as I say in my documentary, a nurse said to me, "I hope you've learned a lesson," which was a cruel thing to say because I became pregnant as a result of a rape in Mexico. So, I didn't know what lesson she thought I should learn, but the lesson I did learn was not the one she wanted. It was abortions must be safe, legal, available, affordable. And we are now back in a time in the United States where about half the states ban abortion, except in extremely limited circumstances for which most pregnant women will never be eligible. So we have to renew the fight. I always say, first we cry, then we fight. And that's what we are going to continue to do, because we are not going to tolerate second-class citizenships and any kind of law that puts women and their lives at risk. And now they're trying to ban many right-wing extremists, birth control pills, and morning after pills, which are used by about half of all women who seek abortions. And all I can say is we have to elect public officials who will support pro-choice and make sure that those who are anti-choice and whose real agenda is just to control women and their lives, we have to get them out of office and elect those who will support us, value our lives, respect our lives. And then if we are successful in our efforts, we will be able to change the law. President Biden actually just talked about that in the last hour in his State of the Union address. And that's what we must do. Not, as Mother Jones, a famous labor organizer, once said, don't agonize, organize. And that's what we're going to do to win our rights. And may I just conclude by saying that we must win the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment to the United States Constitution. I know in many countries around the world, there is a constitutional right to equal treatment under the law that many women now enjoy. That's not a constitutional right in the United States, at least as to reproductive freedom, but we want it in all aspects of life, in family law life, in the employment area. We want to end gender violence against women, and so many other areas. And I leave you with this, a famous saying in the women's movement: there will never be another season of silence until women have the same rights as men on this green earth. Failure is impossible.